Shalom and welcome to our daily session today. I'm very happy that you're here, and I would like to open with you a new conversation. I hope that you can hear us. If you can hear us, please give us a signal that you can hear us. I would be really happy to see if you hear us well, if you get a good signal, because I would like to start. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Today I would like to speak about Justinianus, and here, this is the topic of our session today. This is Justinianus. I hope that you can get a signal. I would be really happy to see if you get a signal. This is Justinian the First, a Byzantine emperor. We shall read about him. This is, so to speak, Byzantine Empire. Please, let's take a good look about the region that he was in charge of. This is a plague that happens. Felipe, good morning. You can hear us? Thank you. Thank you. Shalom, shalom. This is a plague. By the way, I would like to, let's put here a map onto map, that you will be able to see the relation between his imperium, so to speak, the Byzantine Empire, and the plague that happened in his days. We did not read yet about him, the summary that Wikipedia gives us. But here we have the law, or his law, regarding the Hebrews. There's so much to say about it, and I would like us to start conversing about it. Fernando, Felipe, if you can get into the classroom, I would appreciate to hear your voices. Felipe, if you can log in with voice, I shall be happy to hear your voice, or any other friend which can speak. There is a class open here on Discord, and if you wish, you can enter. So please be my guest. What is so special about Justinianus? We shall read in the following description on Wikipedia. Please look.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, finally. I'm so happy. Felipe,
Hello.
Hello, how do you do? Felipe? Hello, Felipe, can you hear? Felipe, the microphone is open. If you can log in again. I heard you. One moment. Felipe? Feel free to enter whenever you can. So, yes, Felipe?
Hello.
Yes,
can you hear me?
I can. How do you do? Good morning.
Good evening, Eti. Thank you. I can hear you. Yes.
Good.
I'm fine, Eti. I'm glad to be here.
Good. Do you see by chance the board? Do you see the description about Justinian the First?
Eti, actually, I have no connection in the computer, only in the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I can try, but I have in the moment I have no access to the board.
Yes.
Only YouTube.
Yes, I see. So we shall read. Yes, thank you, Felipe. Yes, thank you. So Justinian, he was born in November 14th, 482 until 565, also known as Justinian the Great, was the Eastern Roman Emperor from 527 to 565. What he did, and I would like to take, in a way, like a bit focus. Until his time, there was a Roman law, or the Roman Empire. with law that continues from generation to generation with changes. He reached to a conclusion that he wanted to unify everything under one nation and one law. So he gathered around him people who are capable, and within a short time he concised the Roman law into very he cut with his friends many parts of the Roman law that did not fit, but in a short term they managed to create a corpus of law that is obliged to his imperium. And please pay attention to this map. The white part here in the middle is the Mediterranean Sea. Here we see Egypt and the Nile. This is Sinai Desert, so-called Israel. And here we have Syria, Turkey, here Greece, Italy, and Spain, North Africa, of course. Please pay attention to the great territory under his jurisdiction. Since he was an emperor, he also wanted that everyone will obey to his law, and he, in a way, forbid any kind of a practice of any other ideas but his. And he forbade people to learn art and languages in his times. The Platonic academic in Athens was closed. And he also took other steps against people who holds any kind of belief. And here we have his law regarding the Hebrews. Here, this is very interesting. On your free time, I can put this document later on Discord if you would like to have an access to it. Let's say the tone of the law, without even understanding much in law, just the tone of the language already says who is high and who is low and who is supposed to obey. And why do I bring all of this? Is to say one thing. I was listening to this Portuguese conversation regarding the Zohar about the weekly portion, and there was a sentence there in the conversation that in the Catholic Church everything is sad, and if someone is happy, it's a sin. It's a sin to be happy. This is the spirit of the Catholic Church, and if people grow with these spirits, they always feel if they're happy, even for a moment, this is a sin. When I heard this, I asked myself, where does it come from? And I went into I was reading this week a parallel book, it's about reincarnations and completely different topic, but Dr. Weiss, who wrote a book, he was mentioning a patient that was visiting his clinic, and she could not be happy because she grew in a Catholic, let's say, surrounding. So whatever she did, she used to judge herself deeply. So he read a lot of literature about it just to help her. And his remark on this book, so to speak, a sub comment, somehow left in my mind, and he was reading about it, and he told her that Kaiser, Emperor Justinianus, he decided just to strengthen his power as an emperor to cut many laws and traditions and history and art and any expression of the spirit, because in his time, and you can read about it in the books and Wikipedia or any research that you wish, there was a great debate if we are only carnal, if we have also a soul, and whatever, or any document that said that there is a spirit, the spirit walks through us, or we can experience the spirit coming, he just cut and didn't let it be. And if you can listen to the language of the law, you can see what is the root that later become to be Catholicism. Let's see. Preface. The Hebrew hearing the sacred scripture should not indeed have adhered to bare letter. Please pay attention. The Hebrews are, in a way, forbidden to look in letters. I will not read all of those beautiful, I mean, this is a great testimonial what later becomes as an instrument to torture people. This is, and he says that people that will not listen to his law, they will have a physical suffering or carnal, or how do you call it, corporal suffering. But this is where it starts. The suppression of the spirit. People cannot look into Hebrew letters. They are not allowed to contemplate. They are recommended to read the Bible only in Greek and not, of course, in Hebrew, because once a person has a relation to the Hebrew, he has a relation to the spirit, and this is already blocked in this law. So just to give us a general outlook of what is happening in his time, the Platonic or Neoplatonic Academy in Athens is being closed. All what is used to know through the tradition of the Roman Empire is being cut. It's not interested anymore. Everything is being boxed in. And what is fit to the Kaiser or to the Emperor will be the law from now on. And please pay attention how nature, I would say, in a way, answer this tendency to hold people in power. Rodrigo, I'm very happy to see you here. Good morning. I hope you can speak.
Hello, Etty. Good morning. Shalom, shalom to our friends. I'm very happy to hear your voice and to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're speaking about the Emperor Justinianus, the Byzantine Emperor, that under his sovereignty, he in a short time managed to take smart people and to cut the Roman law that it will suit his own understanding to govern people. And what he also was doing, he was restricting or forbidding the Hebrew people to access to Hebrew letters, because he didn't want to have any relation to the spirit. This is just a little summary. But what I was showing when you just came into class, that here on the left we have the map of his Byzantine Empire. And on the right, look what happens. There is pandemic. Pandemic. Shalom, shalom, sunshine. Shalom, shalom, Suzanne. The great pandemic is coming. Please pay attention to synchronicities. Here on the right, we see this is the plague that held the area. Please, there are all kinds of debate of the last year. Where did it start? Whether in the Nile or somewhere else. But here we see here Egypt, Israel, Syria, Turkey of our times, Greece, here Italy, Carthago, North Africa, Spain, and the plague continue even to England of our times and Germany. Please pay attention to synchronicities. So he forbids people to read the Bible in Hebrew. He forbids them access to letter, to contemplation, to read the Bible in Hebrew, and to have the Spirit coming at them while they read the Bible and translate it or experience the Holy Spirit or the Shekhinah. This is what happens in his times. And this mindset also in a way streams or copy and paste to the Catholic Church. So if today people grew, or they were born into this surrounding, and they feel suppression, and in a way they feel that they sin if they're happy for a moment, or they feel spirited for a couple of minutes, please note, you're not sinners and you're not mistaken. This is the origin of your feeling comes from the Justinian law. This is it. He suppressed the Sumerian. There used to be a community of people in Israel. They live here until our days. They call us Shomronim, Sumerians. They let's say they keep their belief as they wish, and he suppressed their revoke. He suppressed any kind of expression of spirit. So this is just a general openness, because I heard in this Brazilian or Portuguese conversation on Monday that people who grew under Catholic belief, church, they always feel that they are sinners. And I said, please pay attention. This is the source. This is the source of suppression. This is human being, flesh and blood, term those laws to suppress people. And it moved because nobody during the generation asked himself what is happening, just passive receivers. So from now on, everything is up to question. So what if I was born under Catholic home, or under, let's say, Loyanic, not Loyanic, the other one, Lutheran church, or any kind of belief, everything, or Hindu or Shinto or Buddhism, or Muslim, everything is up to questions. Because to ask a question is to open a door to infinite. Sunshine is writing, yesterday I was reading Daniel, and it makes a bit parallel with your topic, Nebuchadnezzar. Yes, this is true. This is true. Please pay attention. Under his domain, here this 555, Anno Domini. What is Anno Domini? Anno, the year, Dominus, the master, meaning since Christ, counting. Yes, this is it. Please pay attention to this year. This is the 6th century. And yesterday we were mentioning Viterbo, who wrote the booklet of the Hebrew letter. Viterbo was a cardinal in Italy. And he wrote a little booklet, the booklet of the Hebrew letters. Why would he write such a book? Yes, you want to see the document. 1 second, I'll show the document. But why Viterbo? And please pay attention to the times of Viterbo. Almost 1,000 years later, Viterbo is learning Hebrew from Elia Levita, his teacher that we mentioned yesterday. And Eliyahu Levita lives in his house for 10 years. Viterbo writes a booklet about the Hebrew letters that he learned from Eliyahu Levita. And this is a translation of his book. He wrote the book in Latin about the Hebrew letters. And this is a translation from Latin to Hebrew. A professor from the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, Yehuda Libes, translated the Latin back into Hebrew. And why do I bring this bridge of 1,000 years? Because here on the left we see Justinianus forbid people to read Hebrew, to contemplate on the Hebrew letters, and he brings, and this is the beginning of the Middle Ages or the darkness. People will stop reading. This is a matter of time. And only 1,000 years later, we shall see the revival of the Renaissance, like a new birth of the spirit in culture, in art, in poetry, in free thinking, in free expression. And it comes in a way with the Hebrew letters. So Europe went to sleep. For how long? A beauty sleep of Europe was taking how many years Europe went to sleep? Since Justinianus until Viterbo. Let's say Europe, let's make it a round number. Europe went to sleep. Her beauty sleep was Yes, I would like to hear. Who is there?
Rodrigo, no, actually, just to mention, I believe it's 1,000 between
Well,
Justiniano and
yes, yes. 1,000 years Europe went to sleep. We call it beauty sleep, but let's call it beauty sleep. But nobody's awake. Not nobody. There are streams which are awake in there, but in general, since the time of Justinianus, I mean, the Roman Empire is gone. There's no one to pay taxes. Nobody builds the roads. If there's no roads, no information, there is no movement of knowledge, of law, or nothing. Everything is being blocked and concise. And Europe will come in a way to revival only 1,000 years later. Like the phoenix, she's going to sleep. In general, I'm just speaking general and not with details. This is just a general overview. So, of course, we can deepen our research and see more things in different directions, but this is basically the arc of 1,000 years. When Justinianus bears everything and puts and box in everything, and later on, in a way, comes the sunrise. The sun rises on Europe in the beginning of the 16th century. Any questions so far? There was a question here to see the document. This is a document was made by American University. I can send it to you later if you wish. This is a PDF. Rodrigo, since you're teaching law, can you read for us the text? Do you see the text?
yes.
Very good.
Do you want I read this test?
Just one paragraph regarding to the Hebrew. This is the Justiniani law that says that, yes, let's see what he says. First paragraph.
Okay, concerning the Hebrews. The same Augustus Justinian to Arioblindus, glorious Praetorian prefect. A preface. Hebrews hearing the sacred scriptures should not indeed have adhered the bare letter, but should have considered the prophecies contained therein, by which these announce the great God and Jesus Christ, the Savior of the human race. But though they have given themselves over to foolish interpretations, and even up to this time have wandered away from the correct meaning, still learning that they were disputing among themselves. We could not bear to leave their disputes undetermined. From the reports made to us, we learn that some, knowing only the Hebrew language, want to use it in reading the Holy Scriptures, while others think that the Greek language also ought to be used. And they have for a long time dispute among each other in reference thereto. We, informed of this matter, think that those are the better who also want to employ the Greek language in reading the Holy Scriptures, and every other language which the particular place makes the more appropriated and better know to the hearers.
Thank you. Thank you. Just without, this is a brief reading, thank you, Rodrigo, without going into details, just the spirit or the sound of the language. The Hebrews should not. Please pay attention how the law starts. Should not. The Hebrews should not tac. Finito la commedia. This is it. And you can really, he goes into depth. You can see there are almost four pages of this law against the Hebrew. But it's not just this is among other things to close the Neoplatonic studies in Athens. Not to teach history, poetry, everything that holds a relation to the spirit or to their divinity, or to any kind of openness, just what the Kaiser and his, let's say, friends agreed upon, signed, and enforced. People were enforced. If not to obey the law, they get punished, or they get cancelled, meaning their lives are dismissed. Just to give you an example, again, this is the map, the Byzantine Empire and the plague. Look how this is very, very interesting. Why do I bring this? Because usually plagues either what do plagues do in history? They mark the time. So here, this is the plague we are entering. This plague, we are entering the Middle Ages, and the Black Plague that will happen in the 14th century, people will go out of dark ages. So plague, either it's opening of an era or closure of an era, depends on how we look at it. We also had a pandemic almost 1 year ago for 2 years. Please pay attention. Pandemics are marking the time, and a new era is being closed and a new era is being open. Every pandemic is closing door and opening another door. Please pay attention to this. Any question that you would like to ask now? This is an open session, free for questioning. Yes.
If I understood well, you bring to us this moment of Justinian period to bring to us, how can I say, when people have not access to the Hebrew, to the Holy Bible in Hebrew, the Caesar, how can I say, wants to block the access to the Spirit, right?
Yes.
Since we cannot read the sources writing, so we can't be in communication with the Spirit, since we don't have, for example, access to Hebrew language, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Hebrew alphabet.
Yes. Because I was listening to your conversation, and then there was a sentence there that people who are born under Catholic, but not under Catholic, also here. It doesn't matter under any religion or faith. A person was born into certain community, parents, language, belief, order. Okay, we were born as babies, we grow up. It's time to question. Everything is up to question. If I feel sad all the time, ask yourself why. Why? If we hold false beliefs or certain mood of upbringing because of our parents and grand, I don't know what, bring this with them, ask yourself, is this my belief? Is this the nature of life? Because the nature of life is flow and happiness and constant creating and constant relation to the spirit which is present. If I don't experience all of those things, something is wrong. Whether we bring wrong beliefs, we pick them on the way, grow up in certain traditions, it's good to ask questions. Yes, here Sunshine is writing, just controlling language, words, communication, you pretty control everything. That's correct, that's correct. And why do I bring this? And why in our times? This is quite interesting because this exposure to the Hebrew, to the way of thinking, to the way of being in contact with the spirit is a great relief. Because once a person comes into intimate relation with the spirit, he knows that what exists around, like media or news from any kind of TV or internet site, is something external. Because he experienced the spirit within himself. And today, when people even stopped, and we are living in revolutionary times, people are stopping to, if you noticed in the last few years, first when the internet was established, there was a forum, people could discuss topics with each other for a while until came, so to speak, social media, and people stopped writing or using forums, and they just about social media and how people are profiling themselves with pictures and adventures and great food or great vacations, and in a way the conversation went down the sewers because people do not speak about ideas or values, just want to show how beautiful, great and are they, while others are watching those things and going down because they don't manage to perform that well in social media, not to mention the politics and other things as well. Now we're after, in a way, the social media era, and people sit with TikTok. They just sit with a phone open with a camera on their forehead like a unicorn or like a cyclope. They don't write. They don't form a sentence. They cannot express themselves. They cannot say one thought. They don't bother to write. This is very, very unpleasant moment to humanity. People just open camera and film themselves, and what they film or whatever goes through the camera is reality. They cannot form a sentence. They cannot write a sentence. They stop to think, and this is dangerous. This is why I bring all of those things to you, to do the opposite, because in a way, against those TikTok and open cameras without any content, without thinking, without turning in politeness to another friend because he's existing too, not just me, those things can bring great ignorance. And here I bring at the back door the GPT or those AI. AI is a great assistance. It can read a lot of data and summarize it, but AI is not instead of human. So please pay attention. There is a pole. I mean, this is a polaric situation. On one hand, AI is entering from all frontiers because this is the time for it to arrive. On other hand, people are pulling back. They cannot write, they cannot think, they don't know how to operate systems, they don't want to learn skills. So please pay attention to this tension. This is existing at the same time. What I encourage all of us is all the time, not just to read Hebrew, to be open to any kind of language, to be open to any kind of expression in art, in poetry, in philosophy, mathematics, just to be open, because the openness is a key for flourishing, is a key for good life, is a good for health, because the universe as a beautiful creation is always open. And if we align our life with the universe, there is no reason for us not to experience any flourishing. Okay, there are moments we have to go to the doctor, we have to go through certain procedures, okay, but in general, if we align ourselves with the breathing nature of creation, we experience flourishing. It demands a daily work, because every day we have to, in a way, examine our thoughts, our feelings, see what is mine, what is not mine, what I'm carrying along, what I collected through the way from other people around me. It does not support nature, growth. I put it aside. I clean the table. I clean my attic. So, and I thought in the future that I would like to experience with you other text that deals with philosophy, art, cinema making, ideas that comes through beautiful movies. I would like to open this door too, because this door is always open. Questions?
See,
Yes.
since you mentioned the Zohar meeting when we talk about this topic, and just to mention, if I remember well, we are talking about the balance between joy and sorrow, or something like that. Because I was reading a book um, about the, how can I say, the constancy and the seriousness that we should have in words and deeds, and we have that, how can I say, that conversation regarding this balance between joy and sorrow, because um, sometimes, and you mentioned, my experience is regarding the Catholic experience, and so we we learn a lot about, how can I say, sins and guilty or something like that, and the, and sometimes we mix this, how can I say, this approximation with God with this, um, not necessarily sorrow, but this gravity, this seriousness. I don't know if you understand me. And sometimes, if you how can I say, demonstrate some kind of joy, is not it's not good in 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 some in some
Who says God?
occasions.
Yeah, who
And we are
says
talking about this in the Zohar meeting, and I don't know if you have some um, words to say about this balance between joy and sorrowness, to
there
be
is?
close to God.
Yes, yes, but there is no sorrow. Sorrow does not help anyone. If we make mistakes, we admit. This is, we make mistakes, we admit, we correct, we fix. But sorrow,
Yes, I don't know if I use the right word, but even the fact of, well, you know, um, when Adam and Eve go out, spill out the to the Eden, and sometimes we know we are here in exile. Our soul is in exile, and so sometimes we heard something how can I say, it's hard to come back to to the spiritual room, it's necessary sometimes. Well,
I would like, yes, Rodrigo, they say that on YouTube they don't hear you well, so I would like to repeat your question. Rodrigo was saying that they were discussing that there are times to be in sorrow and there's time to be in joy. This is what you were saying, Rodrigo?
yes, it is some like this because and talk about the fall of Adam, the sin of Adam, and Adam and Eve goes out to the Eden, and sometimes we heard that it's necessary to do some sacrifices to return to the spiritual room, and well, I don't know if it's a right perspective, but sometimes we know that we are in exile here,
Okay,
and
I understand.
it's hard to come back. Hard to come back. It's hard to
Yeah.
come back to Eden. Let's
So
say
I will use your word as a reference. You say sorrow. Sorrow in Hebrew, tsa'ar. Let me make here the right here ink. 1 second. Let's take 3. So you say sorrow, tsa'ar. Tsa'ar, sorrow. Tsa'ar, sorrow. If we look at the Hebrew letters, what is sorrow? Tzadik, Ain, Resh. We take the tzadik and the resh. What is tsar? Narrow. And Ain is 70, usually stands for time. So what is sorrow? Rodrigo? Hello?
it's not a full perspective. It's a perspective of the time, the material perspective.
Very good, very good. A person who lives in material and narrow perspective feels sorrow. Very good. It's not like the same a person, let's say, have a rough times and we express empathy. This is completely different. If a person goes through hard times or even our pets, so you feel empathy. This is not sorrow. Sorrow, say Philon of Alexandria, a person should, if a person falls into sorrow, he is falling from Eden. So it's better not to feel, not to be in a situation when a person all the time feels sorrow, because he's not connected. It's just an indicator. When a person feels sorrows, he's not connected. It's like you don't have a battery on your phone. So if you feel sorrow, how do you say sorrow? Tsar. It's almost the same sound in Hebrew. It means the spiritual battery is low. So connect. Yes, Sunshine is saying, Solomon says something, there's a time for everything, a time to laugh, a time to cry. There are 28 times. 28 times. Yes, like a cycle of a moon. Yes, there is a time to love and time to, yes, everything. That's correct. But since, you see, even Solomon, a frame of thinking, is there is a time for, time to love them. So there is, in a way, time. In time, there's always sorrow. It's very interesting reference.
Etienne,
Yes.
this is a very, very interesting discussion because since you mentioned like TikTok, like nowadays we are experience like a need for a joy, but it's clear that isn't a real joy and happiness. It is a fake one. It is something we have to expose. We have to. It isn't an inner happiness. It's everybody can feel this. We are experience anxiety. It is like the center of the anxiety. And I was thinking about what Rodrigo said, and it makes me think of these issues of happiness, which we've already discussed, being related with the oil, like simha and shaman, what is above time and space. So it's really beautiful, because happiness would be a state of mind that we are out of the circumstances of life.
Yes. Yes.
Space and time circumstances.
True.
And in a way, I have the same question, I guess. When should we be more serious? I guess the word is not sorrow, but seriousness or gravity, because sometimes we see that the world is just fooling around. There is no commitment with with profound themes. It's all superficial.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe we mixed up the feelings, but sometimes we do not want to smile all the times.
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't mean that we are sad.
Yes.
Just that
Yes, you don't.
This relation, I guess today is kind of complicated, because we have to be happy, all the time. We have to be happy, but it isn't a real happiness, I guess.
This is interesting, Felipe, because happiness is a consequence of what? Of being in connection. But we cannot be happy all the time. It is right, because we experience different things. This is not the intentions that we shall be clown all the time. This is not. But the happiness comes from the connection to life. A person can experience not easy moment, so he's not smiling like a clown, but he is aware that through his moment that he's crossing, he's connected, and there's a joy in it. It's not something that it's like a poster for a vacation happiness when everybody's shouting and jumping to the moon. But there is a deep sense of connection, even though through those moments. So the joy is from the connection.
Yes. I guess the word connection is the key word, right?
Yes. Yes. And yes, 1 second,
yeah.
Just to say what you were saying. A friend was writing, sorrow tsar, trapped in the form identity. The sorrow comes when a person feels trapped in a certain kind of identity or form. Like we go through different stages in time, and we believe that we are this person who crossed this river 5 years ago, but we are not there yet. Yes, Felipe.
No, it just just thinking about this. It's quite interesting this subject, because we have to. It's a delicate balance. You know, we may be serious with things, but there is this inner happiness that I guess could escort our moments in every moment of our life, even when we are passing through difficult moments, or when we have to act serious, and this inner happiness, this connection, I guess it is always available.
Yes.
It is a matter of wisdom, I guess.
Yes, of choice. Of choice. There are hard moments that each and everyone is crossing, and the question what comes to us when we cross objectively, the moment is not easy or painful. What happens to the mind, to the heart, when is happening, when the external surrounding broadcast, let's say narrow times, what goes through the heart and through the mind? This is very important. Sometimes the external happening, in a way, it's like thorns around the rose, that it pushes us to pay attention what is happening in the heart in this moment. So the external condition, if they're not really beautiful or loving, but they communicate something, like narrow times, and something appears in the heart or in the mind as a thought, as a feeling, and this is what's important, not the external happening, because the external happening is just an arena. Please pay attention in hard times what the heart is telling you, or the mind. It can be, we can experience different hard moments, but what is happening inside the heart and the mind at the moment of hardship is important, because something new is coming, and this is a real broadcast. If I can share something, I was crossing a very hard procedure lately under all kinds of sedation. It did not help. I remained awake and so. But during the treatment, I saw a rebirth of a person. There was a person around here that was suffering for a long time, because this is the story of their upbringing or so. They were coming into a situation that it's almost cannot solve it. They were suffering a long time. And it is interesting, because in the moment at the clinic where everything, the doctors are with, injection and sedation and suddenly I saw this person. I did not create this image. You're not in charge. We're not in charge or control of something is happening, like pops from the heart or from the mind. It just comes. And I saw this person as an image in front of me all the time of the operation, which was really quite long, and with a flower. And I asked myself during the operation, okay, what does it mean? How can it be that, because the operation was long, and what does it mean? And suddenly, like, comes messages from this person that he's experienced a rebirth. He lived a certain kind of life for decades, let's say on a negative pole, in things that were not in his hand, because he came to a certain family that had certain difficulties. He could not live otherwise. Every person under the same conditions would suffer, would go through hell. But circumstances had been changed lately, and suddenly this figure appeared to me in this operation room. I asked myself why, and the operation was ended. I came home and continue life, and suddenly a stream of let's say messages, not every day, but you see a person being born again. A person that everybody around were already quitting, putting stamp on this life and on whatever. Doctors, medications, name it. So a person could say, "Wait, I'm suffering. Wow, a person sits in a clinic, injections, suffering. It's not nice." But look what came with it. I ask myself at this moment why this is happening to me. Why this person? Why with a flower? Why? But slowly, now when you came with this question and there's a discussion here on YouTube, and suddenly it came to me. Maybe if I would not under this pressure, yes, of the constellation, it would not bring up this image. Not just that the image stayed with me for a long time, but also the attention that I could give to this person to be born in spite of what everybody is saying about him. For so long, for so long.
Thank you for sharing it.
You're most welcome. Only now I understood while speaking to you what happened to me. Before I did not understand. Only now it came. Rodrigo?
Oh, I could just listen and thank you for sharing. But I was thinking about this reborn, and thinking what is necessary to get that experience, because that joy, that inner joy that Felipe mentioned to us, we know there is God's love, uh, which we know that exists, and we want to be connected with this love. But sometimes we feel fear, we feel pain, we feel angry, anger, uh, and sorrow or sadness, despite despite all the desire to be united with God. And so I just was thinking, what is necessary to be in really connection inside, how we get this inside connection, because as you mentioned to us, sometimes the external, the circumstances, the material world, uh, makes we feel, um, hard feelings. And despite this, we want to be connected with this inner love, with God, with this inner joy. And it's not so easy. Is not, um, is not a thing that works when I want. It's not, I want to be connected and okay. It's not, don't.
It's not a passive. This is an interesting point. I would like to relate to your question, but there's also beautiful writing here on YouTube that I would like to include as well. The connection with the spirit is not passive. We say, Ose shalom bimromav, makes peace in heavens. The relation to the spirit is not that I'm sitting here on the sofa like a passive potato and everybody will come and serve me. It's constant inquiry, reading, creating, writing, communicating, asking questions, drawing sketches, recording. Everybody in his realm. Some people like to record birds, listen to bees, photo flowers, listen to the ocean, learn about fish. Each one in his domain. But in order to experience connection to the spirit, it means being active and proactive. If a person is passive, he is not on the right lane. Not at all. This is constant researching, days and night. It's not like we were taught, yes, 8 hours in the office, and then I come from the supermarket, I buy something for supper, and then I land on the sofa, on the TV, go to sleep with the TV in the background. Does not matter what they broadcast. I wake up like a potato sack in the morning, take a shower and continue. This is not life. This is death. Every moment is to be awake, because every single second there is a birth. And if we are not, we don't present in the birth, we don't have space to experience birth. There is no birth, there is death. So we have to be available for the spirit. What does it mean to be available? To learn all the time, to open, to listen to music, to research, to learn new writing, to learn new code, to learn new way, to open our perspectives, to read about philosophy, mathematics, each one in his field. Not to limit ourselves. At the moment we are here, the next moment, each and every one of us, after this session is sealed, will go to his life with a certain openness, and what that he or she will experience, this is it. This is an open system. Everything is open. We are closing the gates. We are shutting down. Like this Justinianus. And plague comes. People, shut down. And then people shout, save me! And people, you have to see this if you visit Israel, because it's the Holy Land, how people behave. They go to the Jordan River. There is a site when people go too deep. This is something that if you see, you would not believe this is real. People are coming from all over the world. You see the buses, the tourist buses, they are parking there at the Jordan River. And people throw themselves in the water, on the floor, like children of 2 years old, throwing tantrums. On the floor, on the water, cry, shout, save me, you would think, what is this? What is this? And people travel, they take airplanes, they save for this journey decades of their lives. And I don't speak about 2-3 people, because there is a mass of, let's say, public who is Christian in their belief, or Muslim, or any kind of, but this is just a caste. A person was born into religion or faith, he did not choose, so he was born. But what do you do? Do you grow? Do you scrape the, let's say, the rust from your walls? Do you look inside and outside? Where are you? Do you question? To be in contact with the spirit, it means to be active, to look for it. There's a sound from the bird, it reminds me a song, or this picture, or this and this harmony. Or we are awake people. If we don't use this awakeness to communicate and to grow, it will work against us. Initiation. Always to initiate contact. Always. Not just with friends, but with myself, with the surrounding, with what is happening. Now I would like to go with you to move, let's say, through the Renaissance. I would like to move also through movies, an expression of art and ideas of humanity in movies. I would like to go with this. So let's go. I could say, oh, only Bible, only Zohar, only this, only this. No, why? Why? If this is what comes, and this is Immanuel Kant or film of the 20th century that express beautiful ideas, why not? Yes.
This, how can I say, serious efforts that we do to search to find out the spirits, is Lech Lecha, go to the unknown.
Yes.
We, in your perspective, it's necessary to go to something that we feel uncomfortable or something unpleasant because, oh, it's right to do this, or you think that we just go in the direction that bring to us some, how can I say, satisfaction, something that we want to do. I don't know if you understand.
I do understand. I do understand. This is sacrifice. Yeah, to sit here at night, all night long, to read Wikipedia pages, to read PDFs about Justinianus, to read about the Justinianus law in Hebrew, in English, in German, or any other language that brings some kind of perspective. Yes, because why to limit? Why to limit? People think that they have habits. No, the habits they have us. They lock us. Who says so? If I'm awake after class yesterday, so I was reading all night long about, I did not speak about the whole law and imperium, but there are many things to say. This is not the time, just to give us a draft of what is happening in Europe and how, in a way, his time is bringing, in a way, or marking the dark, the entering to the dark era. So, but why not? Like Weinreb says, like Carl Jung saying, and others, life demands us, or demands from us, attention all the time. All the time. It depends. If a person wants to be alive, he will stay awake. This is simple. He doesn't want to be alive, so he will close himself and shut. Be proactive. Write, learn, research, communicate, broadcast. This is it. Those who have expertise in music. Music is also a way of communication. So some people, they draw. Some people, they make beautiful sketches. Each one in his field. Thank you so much for being with us today. It was a pleasure to speak to you today. And I hope we can continue next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
Eric. Thank you, friends. Shalom, shalom to everyone. Thank you very
Shalom,
much.
shalom. Thank you, friends on YouTube. We are very happy to host you and your beautiful ideas. Shalom, shalom, and Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom, Eti. Thank you. Thank you all.
Shabbat shalom.